The AAC Report is brought to you by Blahut of Realty One Group. Whether you're looking to buy your very first home or looking to downsize or upgrade, call Blahut anytime at 407-748-0484. Welcome to the AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network. I'm Jeff Allen. Thanks for joining me. Coming up, we'll look back at Week 2 action and ahead to Week number 3 for the Americans teams, including our Spotlight game, which is the biggest game outside of UCF playing Stanford. We'll take a look at Temple hosting number 21 Maryland. But first, let's kick off with looking at Cincinnati getting boat raced at the Horseshoe in Columbus. They got shut out by Ohio State 42-0. Bearcats coach Luke Fickell tried to tie up the loose ends from that one.
I don't know what there is to tie up. I think you explained it right there with 42-0. So I don't know how much tie up there is. We're moved on, and this week's about Miami, and I think it's the oldest rivalry west of the Allegheny, and it's big. And our guys got to make sure. It's been We've had 13 straight wins in this rivalry game, and every single one of them have been hard fought. And the last 2 years, obviously, that I've been here, that we've played it, it's been maybe 2 or 3 plays that have determined the difference in the game. And regardless of who was better team, first year they were a better team, and we ended up winning. Last year, I believe we were the better team, but it was only 2 plays or 3 plays that really were the difference in the ball game. So it's going to be a hard fought battle that we're going to get their best shot.
The Bearcats will host that game at Nippert Stadium. It's a noon kickoff Saturday on ESPNU. Miami of Ohio actually leads the all-time series 59-57 with 7 ties. And as mentioned, the Bearcats won the last meeting a year ago by a 21-0 score. Memphis moves to 2-0, easily handling Southern as expected, 55-24. Tigers coach Mike Norvell.
Yes, most definitely. We're excited about being 2-0. I thought the game on Saturday, there was some good and there was some bad to it. I thought our kids, came out and we didn't get off to the fast start we were hopeful for, but I thought they did a good job of responding. I thought Southern did a nice job of kind of controlling the clock there in the first half. They had a couple of extended drives. I think we only had 22 offensive snaps in the first half. We were pretty effective in those drives that we did have, but obviously one of our biggest focus was trying to take control of the game and time of possession there in the second half, which I thought our kids did a nice job of. Defense, forced three and outs in the second half, only allowed 15 yards. The offense was efficient in what we did. And then I thought special teams played a huge part in the game, getting 2 block punts. I thought our guys played at a high level. We were able to control field position with our return games. And then I thought we did a nice job in our coverage. So all in all, it was good to get the second victory of the season. We're looking forward to this week having to go on the road. This is something that we've talked a lot about in the off season, making sure that when we do go on the road, you maintain our focus, controlling the things that we can control. We have no impact on the atmosphere or anything, in that regard. So we got to make sure that we bring our passion, our energy, and our focus there on the road to go and play at a high level. We're playing against a South Alabama team that's got a lot of talent. They played really well here early in the season. A very competitive game against Nebraska, and then were dominant in their performance here this last week. So we know the quality of the opponent we're playing, and we've got to have a great week of preparation.
The Memphis-South Alabama game is a Saturday 3:30 slate on ESPNU, and Memphis won the only meeting between these two schools a year ago by a 52-35 score. Things still not going well for the Cows as South Florida drops a 14-10 decision at Georgia Tech. The Bulls changed quarterbacks, bringing in redshirt freshman Jordan McLeod, coach Charlie Strong.
Well, the thing we just got to get back on track. Didn't do a great job this weekend. Had our opportunities, and compared to the game that we just let slip away from us. And knowing this, and we had to have a team, get the team ready because we got to bounce back against South Carolina State. First 2 weeks we hadn't played very well, and we just got to get back on track. But you can't have turnovers, you can't have penalties, you can't have misassignments, and you got to tackle well. And all those things are a combination of losses, and that's what we have not done well. We haven't played very well, but this is a good week for us to get started.
The Bulls back home Saturday hosting South Carolina State, a 6 o'clock kick on ESPN3 in the first meeting between those two schools. UConn was competitive as they hosted Big Ten Illinois, but they came up short 31-23. Coach Randy Edsall. Well, Coach Edsall was not available for the coaches' media teleconference this week. Must have been out spending that bonus money. Got a $2,000 bonus because they scored first in that game as part of his odd bonus structure. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on the game either since he didn't offer to spend time with us. The Huskies are on a bye this week. They travel to Indiana, continuing their Big Ten battles next week. East Carolina delivers Mike Houston his first win as Pirates coach by thumping Gardner-Webb 48-9. Here's Coach Houston.
Well, it was great to be at home in Daddy Ficklin Stadium, and my first game at home as the head coach here at East Carolina, and it's a night you'll never forget. Excited to get the win, excited for the enthusiasm and energy that was shown by our alumni and our fans from the Pirate Walk all the way through beginning of the game to the fourth quarter, and being able to sing the fight song with the band in the student section afterwards. So a real enjoyable night, memorable night, and good to play a little bit more our style of ball on the field, and certainly glad to be 1-1 going into this game. It's Navy has a tremendous tradition. And Ken does an incredible job with the program, and that goes without being said. And the unfortunate things, we only have one game from this year to watch, but certainly they played very, very well against Holy Cross, all three phases. And we've got a tremendous task in front of us this week on the road. They'll be well rested. They've had 2 weeks to prepare. And then just everything that goes along with trying to defend them and trying to attack them. So, big challenge and a great opportunity.
So Navy, as mentioned, was idle this past weekend, so they got an extra week of prep for ECU. Coach Ken Niumatalolo discusses that preparation.
Thought we had a good open week. We got a lot of work in. They able to get rested a little bit, but started our preparation on ECU. We have a tremendous amount of respect for Coach Houston. I mean, he's a really good football coach. He's won wherever he's been. Obviously coming off a big win for them this past weekend. So, having big wins like that is definitely great for your program and your morale. So I'm sure the spirits are up. So we're looking forward to a great game. We're excited to be at home. And like I said, got a great amount of respect for Coach Houston and his guys on his staff. He's got a really good staff, and so we know this is going to be a tough ball game.
East Carolina and Navy is a 3:30 kickoff Saturday on CBS Sports Network. Navy leads the series 5-1, having won the last meeting in 2016 by a 66-31 score. SMU rolled to a 49-27 victory over North Texas to move to 2-0, returning the favorite of the Mean Green who blew out the Mustangs in 2018. Ponies coach Sonny Dykes.
Yeah, it was good to get a win against a good football team. I have a lot of respect for North Texas and their program, and certainly Mason Fine and their quarterback. And I thought our guys played pretty well and made enough plays to win the game. Thought we got off to a fast start, and certainly that helped us. And felt like we lost our way a little bit in the second quarter, and played better in the second half. So I was encouraged by that. I thought Xavier Jones had a nice game. I felt like we needed to be able to run the football, and I think our offensive line is improving and played better last week. And Xavier had a couple of big runs for us that that were a difference in the ball game. And so I thought he played well. I think he's got 6 touchdowns on the year, so he's off to a fast start so far. And then Pat Nelson was really active. Thought he made a lot of plays defensively. Obviously had a big interception. We missed a really good opportunity to kind of separate ourselves a little bit from them. Pat got a turnover and we got down to the 6-yard line and got a field goal blocked there. Ended up having to kick a field goal and got it blocked, and that was certainly not a good stretch for us, getting the turnover at the 6 and then not scoring on that opportunity. But Pat had a great game, and so thought both those guys are improving week by week, and it's good to see him have some success. Going into Texas State, you look at Texas State. I mean, they're playing really, really good football right now. They had a big lead on Wyoming. And Wyoming had an interception return for a touchdown that kind of changed the game and changed the momentum for them. But I was impressed with the way they played against Texas A&M. I thought they played physical. Thought they played hard. A&M had to earn everything that they got in the game. Really impressed with their talent on defense. They've got a good defensive front, 2 outstanding linebackers, and then a lot of athleticism on the back end, and they're solid in the kicking game, and I think they had almost 450 yards Saturday against a good Wyoming defense. So they're a good football team, and a team that we better play good football to have a chance to win.
SMU, Texas State, a Saturday night fight at 7:00 on ESPN3, and they've only met one time before, back in 2008. SMU won that one. Tulane hung tough with SEC foe Auburn, but dropped a 24-6 decision to the Tigers. Green Wave coach Willie Fritz.
Well, play a real quality Auburn team. I believe they're number 8 in the country. Really talented across the board, offensively, defensively. Do a good job in the kicking game. Our guys really hung in there tough through 3 quarters. I thought we played well on defense, did some good things in the kicking game, and at times played well offensively, but just shot ourselves in the foot too often with missed assignments, penalties. We had 11 penalties in the ball game, which is way too many to beat a quality opponent like Auburn, and it's just unfortunate that those things occurred in a game. This magnitude, but that's how it went. We got to clean that up. We got to do a good job of eliminating those pre-snap and post-play penalties, and the ones that we control, not the ones that the officials control, and then learn from it and move on against Missouri State this Saturday evening.
Yeah, that's right. Tulane Saturday night entertains Missouri State, 8:00 on ESPN3. First ever meeting between them. Houston rebounded from their Oklahoma defeat by downing Prairie View in their home opener 37-17. Cougars coach Dana Holgerson.
Was glad to get the first win under our belt. Goals to win, and we did. So we'll take that and move on. Still, got a ton of things to work on. We made some improvements from week 1 to week 2, but not nearly as many as we need to make to be able to beat Washington State here this Friday night. Going to be a huge challenge for us. They're a great team, well coached. Expect to win, play with great effort. Been doing the same thing there for about 8 years now. So we're going to have to take what we did on Saturday night, and after an off day yesterday, get back to work tonight, make a whole bunch of corrections, and then install as well. Can't make the excuse that a short week's going to hold us back. We got to get out there and work on a whole bunch of things and try to get better to put us in position to be able to look good on Friday night.
And Friday night, the Cougs get another crack at a top 25 opponent in 23rd-ranked Washington State, playing in front of the home fans at NRG Stadium Friday night, 9:15 on ESPN. Washington State leads the series 2-1, but the last time they played was 1988 Christmas Day. Washington State got the gift of a 24-22 win that day. Tulsa went west to gain their first victory of the season, a 34-16 win at San Jose State. Golden Hurricanes coach Philip Montgomery.
Yeah, I thought our team came out and played a really good overall game, cut down a lot of the mistakes. Still had too many penalties, but I thought our defense again played extremely well. Had a series in there. They forced 5 or 6 punts in a row, which is just great. Offensively, I thought we did some better things. Got to continue to keep improving on that side of the ball, but I thought our offensive line played better and gave our skilled guys an opportunity to go make yards. So getting there, but it's still a work in progress and ready to get back on the practice field. As far as Oklahoma State, obviously outstanding team. Blown out their first 2 opponents, and we know they've got a lot of talent and explosive ability, especially offensively, playing a little bit different than what they have in the past defensively, and they got a lot of eyes to the ball and going to cause some problems there. But got to lock some things down and be ready, excited to be back home or get to play at home for the first time this year. And so be a great crowd and great atmosphere here at the house.
Yeah, look at that, Tulsa, home and home with a Power 5 team. Are you listening, USF? So Tulsa's Oklahoma State's game is Saturday at 3:30 on ESPN2. Oklahoma State leads the series 40-27 with 5 ties. The last meeting was 2 years ago. Oklahoma State won big 59-24. Our 17th ranked UCF Knights lit up FAU 48-14. Coach Josh Heupel.
Yeah, just really pleased with the way our kids handled the week. For us, it was a little bit different. We took Wednesday off because of the hurricane. Campus and really almost the entire town was shut down. Our kids handled an off day in the middle of the week really well, came back and got themselves mentally refocused on Thursday and Friday and physically ready to go. Went down there and played really well in all 3 phases of the game, started fast. Getting a couple of stops and getting a couple of touchdowns on the first couple of drives there, and changed the way the game was played throughout the course of it. Defensively, just created a bunch of negative plays and put them in a lot of tough situations in 3rd and longs, and got after the quarterback all night long. Played tight coverage, and offensively, we're able to run the football really efficiently and explosively all night long, and create some big plays in the pass game. Excited about the opportunity, to have a great opponent come in here to Orlando. We're going to have an electric atmosphere. Our guys are excited to play this one, and they are every Saturday. Just an opportunity for us to take the next step in our journey this season. And week 3, got an opportunity to improve on some of the things that we need to from week 2 and go play good football.
So UCF's big battle with Stanford kicks off 3:30 Saturday on ESPN. Stanford has won the only other meeting between the two. They were 31-7 winners back in 2015, pre-Scott Frost. And now for my Nickelsworth on UCF, because 2 cents is not enough. And it's going to be a lot of obvious statements. The running game, filthy deep. Unbelievable what kind of talent we have in the running back room at the University of Central Florida. Greg McCrae, the lead back. Otis Anderson with a pick up a lingerie move. That poor FAU defender is still flailing somewhere. And, they just, Killins with a strong run, pushing his way over the goal line. It's just a tremendous amount of depth in the running back room. And it's going to be key to their season with the things going on at the quarterback position. The running game is the strength of the football team, and as long as they can continue to run the football, that's going to lead to great success. And speaking of the quarterback situation, well, the quarterback battle got juicy once again with the announcement Monday that DJ Mack is back and available to play. Quarterbacks coach Jeff Lebby said this week that he's knocked the rust off, but he hasn't played in a game yet. And then what do you do after Dylan Gabriel got the start last week? He had some ups and downs, as a freshman will tend to do. Was effective with some big plays, but missed some passes. Brandon Wimbush, not 100%. We still don't know exactly what that means as far as his health goes. They say he might be available to play, so what do you do? I mean, I'm at the opinion that I don't know that you can go back to Winbush at this point. I think you have to go with Gabriel, and I wouldn't be surprised if Mac was the number 2 guy on the depth chart come this Saturday. And interestingly enough, this tropical wave that's out there looks like it's going to impact the weather this weekend. Cooling temperatures, which, the heat was going to be a big benefactor for UCF against the West Coast Stanford Cardinal, but that part will be taken out. But rain, and rain can be an equalizer, and that's something UCF will have to contend with as well. Coming up, one of the biggest games in the AAC that's not a UCF game features Temple hosting 21st ranked Maryland. We'll talk about that when the AAC report continues in just a moment. Are you tired of the endless money pit of paying rent? Do you have a home you need to sell for top dollar? Talk to the Hometown Advantage award-winning real estate professional and fellow UCF Knight, Blake Blahut of Realty One Group. Blake has proven to produce results and a smooth process for his clients all across Central Florida. Whether you're looking to buy your very first home or looking to downsize or upgrade, talk to Blake Blahut. Visit him at his website, Blake'sOrlandoHomes.com, or contact him anytime at 407-748-0484. Again, Blake'sOrlandoHomes.com and 407-748-0484. Get the hometown advantage by working with Blake. The Temple Owls were in a bye last week, giving them extra time to prep for the Maryland Terrapins, who pummeled Syracuse 63-20 to move to 2-0 on the season. Temple down Maryland last year in College Park. Owls coach Rod Carey.
Yeah, last week we made most of the week. We got out and recruited and got ahead on some things practice-wise and, development for our young guys and all those things. And, did what everybody does during a bye week. And then obviously got back in here yesterday and got to work after the game that Maryland played with Syracuse and tidied things up, and then just got off the practice field here this morning and ready to go. Obviously, we're excited about the game. It's another opportunity. You get 12 of these guaranteed, now 11 of them left. So this is the biggest one because it's the next one. So we're excited about it, and it was a good day of practice so far. I haven't watched it on film yet, but I liked kind of the attitude and the effort and the tempo we had to practice today.
Now joining us to talk about Temple v. Maryland, we have Marc Narducci of the Philadelphia Inquirer joining us. Marc, thank you for being here.
Good to be here, Jeff.
So before we start talking about the big game of Maryland, week 1, Temple faced Bucknell, pretty much an expected score, but what did you see out of Rod Carey that you like about this football team?
I like the fact that first of all, he's totally different from Jeff Collins, his predecessor, and I like Jeff a lot. He was a very gregarious coach, a guy that loved social media. Rod is a guy that just is more down to business. He doesn't care about people knowing how hard they work, and he's pretty straightforward, too. He gets to the point, and the thing is, I think his players have really bought in. Technically, some of them have been through 4 coaches in 4 years, if you count the 18-day tenure of Manny Diaz. And what's been impressive is I think how both sides have adapted well to each other.
And he did work into a pretty good situation coming from Northern Illinois. He did take over a football team that had some good talent on it.
There's no question about it. Now, Temple was picked 4th in the AAC in the preseason media poll. But as I wrote earlier, Jeff, that's a little deceiving because, in my opinion, this year, the difference between 1 and 4 is as close as it's been in quite some time. So I do think they have the ability to contend this year. I mean, obviously, 2-time champion Central Florida is the favorite. But I think they have a chance. And this game is going to be a major barometer for them, no question about it.
And they got the benefit of a bye week to get prepared for Maryland. How much do you think that helps?
I didn't think it helped. I wrote about that last week, that I thought it hurt them, especially this part of the season. They didn't have a ton of injuries. The one area where it does help is they had one guy, their tight end who was hurt and he missed the opening game. He might be able to play. We're writing about him, Kenny Yeboah, for tomorrow. He practiced today. If they have him back, he's a potential big play performer. He actually caught his only career touchdown pass against Maryland last year's 35-14 win. So that might help, but they were not that banged up. And I tend to think that after you get started, you want to get going for a few weeks before you have a bye. So I don't think it was real helpful.
And as you mentioned, Temple was victorious over Maryland last year. The Maryland team comes in now 2-0, ranked 21st in the country. They appear to have gotten over the DJ Durkin mess, in which the unfortunate incident of Jordan McNair passing away due to heat exhaustion. Michael Loxley has taken over, and they're only averaging 71 points a game in their first two.
Well, the thing is, they beat Howard 79-0. So you take that one with a grain of salt.
Sure.
But the fact is, what they did to Syracuse last week, putting up over 60 against them, a Syracuse team that was ranked, that was a little bit impressive, and that was eye-opening about this Maryland team. So, and it's interesting, too, Jeff, because the same thing happened last year, if you remember. They opened their season, they beat a number 23 ranked Texas team, and everybody thought, wow. And then they beat Bowling Green. They played Temple at home, and Temple just demolished them. Their season went south. That turned Temple's season around. So Temple's used to playing, from last year, a Maryland team that's on a roll.
And as we go into this game, what are the keys to the game for Temple to be victorious again this year?
I think Temple has to run the ball. I think that's Rod Carey's MO. He would love to run it all, as much as he possibly can. Temple has a running back, a true freshman by the name of Ramon Davis, about 5'9", about 210. I think he's their best running back already. He had a real solid opening game. Again, it's against Bucknell, so it's really hard to get a true indication of that. But I think Ramon Davis is going to be a very, very special performer for this Temple squad. I guess he won't start. Jagger Gardner, their graduate student senior, got to start last week and probably will this week. But Ramon's going to get a lot of carries. And Rod thinks the key is, especially with a great pass rush that Maryland has, is to run the ball so they don't stick those pass rushers in on quarterback Anthony Russo.
And you think running the ball would also be to their advantage, because if Maryland is capable of putting up points, keeping it off the field would be critical too.
No question about it. I mean, I think that this quarterback, Josh Jackson, the redshirt junior graduate transfer from Virginia Tech, has made all the difference. Last year, Maryland just, at least against Temple, just simply couldn't throw the ball. They just couldn't. And Temple dared them to pass, feasted on the run, stopped both, and had a real dominating performance. Now, the one thing I will caution, a bunch of key players in that game are obviously graduating, including Michael Dalby, who had 3.5 tackles for loss in that game. So I think Temple's going to need to get some sort of a surge on that defensive line. That's the one area I think is a little questionable at this time for them.
So, Mark, how do you think the game plays out this coming weekend?
Well, it's funny. Temple's at home. Temple knows what Maryland did last year, and Temple loves being the underdog for some reason, and maybe it's because I'm with Temple a lot. I still think that the Owls are going to find a way to win this game in a very, very close one.
All right, Marc Narducci of the Philadelphia Inquirer covers the Temple Owls for them. Thank you very much for taking the time to give us the lowdown.
Okay, Jeff, thank you.
And this game will be Saturday at high noon on CBS Sports Network. The AAC announced the weekly winners of the football honors. The Offensive Player of the Week was running back Xavier Jones of SMU, 127 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns on just 16 carries in the Ponies' 49-27 win against North Texas. The Defensive Player of the Week, also from SMU, Patrick Nelson, a senior safety, had 7 tackles to go along with 2 sacks and an interception. And the Special Teams Player of the Week, Dalton Witherspoon, the kicker from Houston, 13 points connecting on 3 field goals and 4 PATs. Making the honor roll from UCF, Dylan Gabriel with his 245-yard 2 TD performance in the air and a rushing touchdown to boot. And Eric Mitchell, the junior linebacker, had 9 tackles, 2.5 for loss, and a sack in that big win over Florida Atlantic. Some other honors as we move to other sports, the weekly women's soccer honors. The Offensive Player of the Week was Evelyn Vaines, senior forward from USF, as they had a 2-0 week, and she helped them to 11 points in 2 matches. The senior tied the program for record for goals in a game with 4. Her 3rd career hat trick also tied a USF record. Defensive Player of the Week was Kanya Plummer from UCF, anchoring the Knights back line that shut out the Gators 2-0 in Gainesville, and only allowing 7 shots over the 90-minute game frame. The Goalkeeper of the Week, Elizabeth Moberg, junior goalkeeper from Memphis. 2nd straight weekly honor after posting a pair of shutouts a week ago. And moving over to the volleyball honors. Let's take a look at those. The Offensive Player of the Week was Abby Jackson, freshman from Houston. Houston had a 4-0 week, which included an undefeated showing and a nod on the UTSA Classic All Tournament team. She totaled a conference high 87 kills in 16 sets, averaging 5.44 kills per set. The Defensive Player of the Week, Kaylee McHugh from Tulane. She was named the All-State Sugar Bowl Collegiate Volleyball Classic Defensive MVP in a 4-match week for Tulane in New Orleans. Her 85 digs paced all conference players. And before we wrap things up on this edition of the AAC Report, just a couple of quick notes to talk about. First, I want to thank everybody for all the great response to this podcast. We've been doing this since March. We got started with March Madness, waited our way through summer, started doing the football previews in August, and can't thank you guys enough for listening. It's a thrill for me to be a part of the Knightline Sports Network, and I want to thank the guys, Andrew and Trace from Knightline, and Adam and Mike from Sons of UCF. They have welcomed me into the family and have been gracious with their time and promoting the show. And we hope and we feel like we're doing something that you like and that you want to listen to. And thanks all around to everybody for that. And also, just a quick reminder, I also host my own podcast called Jeff Allen Sports Talk. You can find it on all the podcast platforms, just about all of them out there, as well as JeffAllenSportsTalk.com. We'll be back to do it again next week. We'll see how things shape up from week 3 and move into week 4. This has been the AAC Report only on the Knightline Sports Network. I'm Jeff Allen. Thanks for listening.